For Menuka say Kofi Boat, one of the people who has been extradited to the United States of America by the Federal Bureau of Investigation from the FBI over fraudulent Sakawa accusations and charges. Finally, Menuka say I could be caught in him. Now, I said this particular year have been very shocking because one of the things you do realize is that many of the so-called East Legon billionaires are no more East Legon club near the adeno omunyina no menoka say no dodo na ya che omo say menoka say no ya de omo ko US to face charges and so where they bomb say they are engaged in fraudulent activities. It's ko munya no enye business be Sakawa fraud romance scheme and omoye. So Kofi Boat caught that jury may score together with other people. But then say officially the Abbott to say officially the United States of America they brought out the charges against these two people, which includes that jury may Kofi Boat are on no screens. So together with other three key people they believe that all of these people they are involved in various romance scams and Sakawa as a kwamfa so munya music and enye papa. Now etie for yebo hwi nya call a year screens no so because no can say in USD when him say bibi omo ye bia no omo ya they want to be very transparent on per se the omo ye bia no enye plan obi ehu bibi ade ne ko nti wo hwe the wo screens no so Ushe Edina or say the United States District Court, Southern District Court, United States of America versus Isaac Odru Boatin, aka Kofi Boat. It's you see, and one more, Omudiabano, number one, Kofi Boat, Nusa Ahmed, aka Pascal, Derek Van Yeboah, aka Van, and Patrick Kwame Asari, aka Boga. So these four people. And I'm no say no yedi omo akupi court that jury is there also and I'm cancel. So we will have to read the details of it at the intern I'm no say no yedi omo air court. So we'll be looking at all of that. To count one now it does yipa, but we'll try as much as possible and be very fast with it. Osha count one now. Also conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The grand jury charges. Inti basically umpire say sankofu ya yabo mudi no. They conspired to commit fraud. In fact, they even committed fraud according to the FBI investigation. There was an overview of scheme into which exactly how these people even operated in the first place. Or say at all times relevant to this indictment, Isaac Odru Boatin, aka Kofi Boat, Inusa Ahmed, aka Pascal, Derek Van Yeboah, aka Van, and Patrick Kwame Asari, aka Boga, the defendants and other known and unknown were members of criminal enterprise. The enterprise based primarily in Ghana that's committed fraud against individuals and businesses located across the United States, including the Southern District of New York. The enterprise perpetrated multiple romance scams and business email compromises among other fraudulent activity. So let me break this down. According to this particular rates, what they are saying here is simple. Say one more they've conspired to commit fraud, and one of the things that they did is that one of the things that they did you find romance fraud and a romance scheme romance fraud no and they say any you better that you want to say oba near target vulnerable states. A targeted vulnerable state and a state as you who say okay senior citizens from senior citizens who many ever near start send your messages near the other and I be infiltrate or more chat and on social media handle into any other that's on will be a message you say hi can I be friends with you that is how you start into they'll pose as a female who say no be chatting they do gain your trust into now who bro no be falling no because so be worry o money ade ade no ho no be di usun kudim iti no eba ni sana de mu pe bia no o de ba mo na afa mo kra na they can just get your credit card and your social security number and take all your money. And one of the schemes they use is the gold. I want to marry you. One meskani acquire visa, bona meskani acquire visa. You know kind so upa pebu. Yes, gold be a ho on fiscal bra nekwaji gold. No, anything a whole lot of things. Now omuji abro phone sika. Aside from that too, they do business compromise email. So these companies in New York near the and sometimes they send mails to their clients near the day. Oh, I'm ordering this amount of money. Send this to this payment me near the day. So they are able to infiltrate these accounts of these companies. I'm just some of them cry based in the New York Southern District or into most skank was a company A company B for services and products. They compromise it and the money ends up going into these people on my account. Tell them as a criminal enterprise. Yes, and to be or say many of the enterprise romance scam victims were vulnerable older men and women who lived alone. The enterprise conducted the romance scams by sending victims emails, text messages, and messages through online dating and social media websites that deceived the victims into believing they were in a romantic relationship with a person who was in fact a fake identity assumed by members of the enterprise. Once members of the enterprise had gained the trust of the victims using the fake identity, they convinced the victims under false pretenses to transfer money to the bank accounts the victims believed were controlled by their romantic interests, when in fact the bank accounts were controlled by members of the enterprise. At times, the members of the enterprise are also persuaded victims under false pretenses to receive funds in the victims' bank accounts, which unknown to the victims were fraud proceeds, and to transfer those funds into accounts under the control of members of the enterprise. The members of the enterprise posing as romantic interests of the victims also introduce victims to other individuals purporting to, for example, consultants or lawyers who they persuaded the victims under false pretenses to wire money to bank accounts controlled by members of the enterprises. Members of the enterprise often refer to victims of romance scams as clients and victims' money as claimed money because the victim was deceived into initiating the transfer of money and will be unlikely to immediately report the transfer as fraudulent to the victim's bank account. According to US for no investigations, say Kofi Boat and his uncle for 4 years, together with other squad on Makono. What they do is so simple, say. At the end of the day, Sanko for money clients ne air chat and money nipa ne chat here. And na can send the into one na nipa no e trust ebo mumwa. Na fi omo this scheme na was sending me ska me ba US na me koye visa ne ade na Bruni sign it. Aside from that too, one more omo fraud omo a enye sa nipa na oni omo chat no. Omo timi catch in other people ni say send money into Bruni way bank accounts. Into omo send ko to sa Bruni na oni omo chat bank account. Na Bruni ni so odo. Obi say be a business though. No, so you can't say okay. Once you receive the money, send the money to this account. It's they use one more on your charting as an intermediary. And aside from that part to say, because omo sending money willingly, Untimi enkasa ya fraud in the minimum because Osenis can create be 1, 4, 5, 6 months cry or chatting after the one you know acquire report say from in near ban also. Now one more omoni omo chatting this particular Kofi Boat and co no or part say omo refer to the money as clean money because man foresee Bruni on send on one has an sending mommy. Into once man the bank account man ye fraudulent on one sending mommy the clean money. This according to them. And according to investigations, we say one more a year Kofi Boat near their any a year the squad near much they refer to victims as clients. Say, so I say the enterprise also conducted business email compromises to trick and deceive businesses into wiring funds into accounts controlled by the enterprise. Members of the enterprise typically created email accounts with slight variations of email accounts used by employees of a victim company or third party engaged in business with the company to spoof or impersonate those employees or third parties. The fake email accounts were specifically designed to trick other employees of the company with access to the company's finances into thinking the fake email accounts were authentic. The fake email accounts were then used to send instructions to wire money to certain bank accounts and also included fake authorization letters for the wire transfers that contained forged signatures of company employees. By utilizing the method of deception, the enterprise sought to trick victims into transferring money to bank accounts the victims believed were under the control of legitimate recipients of the funds as part of normal business operations, when in fact the bank accounts were under the control of members of the enterprise. Members of the enterprise often refer to these business email compromises as Ali Baba. FBI from the hard dream power is over who your times ni. Anyway, some particular part I mean church because we need to conform yes age man no many omo album come on my church and how the whole thing goes. So omo patch say business compromise no what they do is even say a company like Apple, okay, Apple will be US, but Apple mefa branch will New York. Now some crofo we no on my track here we say okay, Apple employees no more New York no on say more emails it's over penas I say ya your penasnews.com and penasonline.com. It's penasonline.com no workers ni nyina na omo ye dwon penas no it me create company emails emo omo nti obehu kwame na at penasonline.com, adjoa at penasonline.com, kwame at penasonline.com. It's usually it's in that order to kind of send mails within the workspace. It's you say unya email be from wine at penasonline.com. You say your colleague and our sender and a business related, work related. So they track these things in United States of America, these kind of states. No, it's Apple New York. No matter track is okay. Suzanne Apple New York. Yeah, Suzanne at apple.com.ny. That is New York. Interno sa no you better track ni send this lady no email. But email no me send amount no. Say be a lady no ni email ni Suzanne at apple.com.ny, which is New Yorker. On be slightly different, okay? Into on Suzanne, okay, at apple.com.new York now and at .new York na .ny no on be .nyy. What yes, and as on .co.ny. It's on slight variations because you've been using that email periodically, we need bosso. Remember, say Nipano or impersonate email now. They use the same impersonation to fraud another worker. Into Suzanne, it me I impersonating email no. You say Suzanne on a Patrick and a Juma. Patrick saw the same alignment of mail. If that is the case, then what will really happen is that you're sending mail now to Patrick. You better slight variation is Suzanne at apple.com.new York that's .ny ben abia.co.ny. Yeah, sending sa message no am I best sending message from that compromised email no to Patrick. It's Patrick you know baby say oh Suzanne I'm nini here Juma because Suzanne at apple.com.ny but who say .com na .co.ny slight variations. Now Suzanne at say hi Patrick, please we've ordered this and this and this, so please wire this amount to this particular bank account. Patrick there or a financier and ACBA or HR human resource and a human relation and a human resource manager. It's on the who officer legitimate no so send no omo ye or no me say sa email ya obi answer no one hour send is so I received the email checking na email near scanner that. So these are the basic types of fraud in Kofu use so I just say 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 at the end of the day no say omo use sa business compromise email na far e di omo de friend no Alibaba. Time no Alibaba. Na yenhwe phone because of time name stories that may no do so tin yenhwe phone no na I just say I think special 4 and 5 because the 5 says something. I'll say members of the enterprise refer to the fraudulent activity as Sakawa, a Ghanaian term that refers to internet fraud. In general, members of the enterprise known as Sakawa boys and Game Boys conducted the online fraudulent activities and directed their victims to transfer money to middlemen in the United States. The middlemen often held business bank accounts in the names of shell companies purportedly involved in, among other things, automobile sales, food, imports, exports, freights, tracking, and shipping. The middlemen will take a percentage of the funds and launder the rest of the money to the other members of the enterprise located in West Africa. So, Sakawa fue and go fue no omuyo omujuma na edi and the fresh ade no model of business no in Ghana, which is West Africa, Sakawa. Now, aside from that, too, a dean by acquire something from Game Boys. Now, Game Boys, no, or many clients in charge no money scanner. They don't just take the money, they be will be US. What could be a so my set company, a you food and I say delivery and I import and export was setting a company bank account. It says can echo go that company nipana or US the company bank account echo gum money be $20,000 and nipana $5,000. Now the account was sending my Ghana has it. That is the modus of business. Yeah, share 5, now we are in fancy. Once the funds have been transferred to West Africa, the profits were largely funneled to individuals called chairmen who directed the activities and other members who directed the activities of the other members of the enterprise. Isaac Odro Boatin, aka Kofi Boat, Inusa, Pascal, Derek Van Yeboah, aka Van, Patrick Kwame Asari, aka Boga. The defendants all reside in Ghana. Boatin and Ahmed were chairmen of the enterprise, and Van Yeboah and Asari were also high-ranking members of the enterprise. Van Yeboah personally perpetrated romance scams on behalf of the enterprise. In total, the enterprise stole and laundered more than approximately 100 million from dozens of victims. Wow. According to omu investigation omu make here no. Na omu patch says sankofo yi ahu on the screens no. Enye omu pe no omu ye adwuma no. Oba krom ha omu top ho omu esro ho. Inti esro no omu wo no. Omu no at the end of the day no omu control in bofra na omu chat ni ade no. Inti omu ne refer omu say chairman. Inti chairman is sankofo 5 from with the head no being Kofi Boat. Na sa chairman omu control ye say fase inti uni client be chat na person chini mugwa chairman na the be sorting them na mau. So these people were at the realm of this particular omu kasa into ebetu ensi from ebesi ni ade. And according to them no patch say in all no omaye sadie we actually because we cut down why you realize that from 2013 these guys were engaged in serious fraudulent activities. And in total, these people have gained over an assets over $100 million. This kind of bar, omochiche ebedi kan ko chairman no one bi akokon mbofra na wo mo chate omo ye dirty jobs and also omo chate e browse e ma chairman no. That is it. Therefore, time no dawson e 10 a year. I think say okọ Ghana we na okọ US consul o meyi na US government versus Kofi Boat and you you can read it yourself. But then there kind of statutory allegations what the state wants their journey and their day, but the details of it I believe say and one media mama no. But Shatta Wale also has something to say, and because Shatta Wale after in Lamborghini people believe so no as a chairman no audience incredible akoma America for say Kofi Boat to name the Kofi Boat on your fraudster. Anyways, in good things Shatta Wale edituja.
Most of you don't know who Kofi Boat is. So as this problem come, oh yeah, it is kind of no problem. God will judge all of us on this earth. Kofi Boat, you put the call him scammer. Kofi Boat. Hey God, sometimes you put us into difficult situations that we can't even explain to mankind. But I know that you are there to make people know that Kofi Boat is not a scammer. Oh God, hey Kofi Boat. Hey, Kofi. Hey.
Yes, Ghana Online. We define the news.
Hey. Joyce, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I feel bad, Charlie. If you sick of Kofi, I know if you sleep, Charlie, man. Joyce, I'm sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I do watch my siblings right now, like I watch them, like I the picture Kofi Boat in kiddies right now. I know they fit.
Yes, Ghana Online. We define the news.
Scammer. Who tell you? It's just business where you go wrong. Kofi Boat, you go switch computer and stop the browse. What do you mean? But it's the world. That is where the world is. When you don't take care, you go do just one wrong business. You just
Yes,
go do
Ghana
that one
Online.
business.
Redefine the news.
That's why I'm careful. That's why I don't move with friends anymore. That's why I don't want to do friends. Boys, come house. No. Most of you there, if you say maybe this is my home man share, get them boys. No, I ask my friends. Everybody there in corner. Oh, go meet, you go meet. And some when it's important, it's important. Go. I ain't ready for somebody to come and tell me, Shatta, oh, the music, if we take do like this. No. I know how to sell my music. That is what you guys are not seeing. That's what you guys are failing to see. And you are saying, how is he living this lavish lifestyle? Bro, it's music. Pay attention.